Well, 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 what do we have here? New recruits, eh? You there, what's your name?
Peppered, sir?
What? Sound off, I didn't hear you.
Peppered, sir.
Horse hockey, I still didn't hear you. Sound off like you got a...
Pepper, sir!
Ah, you got some fire in you, Pepper. I like that, recruit. I'll bet you think you're going to be a sergeant in this Navy.
Yes, sir.
Well, I hate to break the news to you, Buttercup, but we don't have any sergeants in the Navy. Now drop it, give me 20. What about you two? You look like a couple of pansies to me. We got a yellow submarine for you. All right. They told me you'd be green, but I had no idea. Command has only given me 2 weeks to get you sorry lot of ricks toughened up. So, fall in. Time for your haircuts. And move up, lift, 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 right, lift, lift, lift. Well, all right there, good people. Today is the 1st of April, and I've got about 2 weeks to get some of these plants hardened off because it's going to be time to take them out and plant them in the garden. So the hardening off process is about 2 weeks just before the plants are transplanted out to their permanent home out there in the garden. And what it entails varies depending upon what conditions you're dealing with. The idea is you want to spend some time every day, if possible, letting those plants get adjusted to the conditions that are more like what it will be like in the garden. Inside the greenhouse, it's hot during the day, it's cool at night but not too cold, and they're sheltered from the wind, and they have plenty of water all the time. Out there in the garden, conditions may not be exactly the same. They'll have wind. They should still get plenty of water, but they won't have any protection that the greenhouse provides. So they need to get adjusted to living in that environment before they're transplanted. They'll survive a lot better that way. All right, today is the 2nd of April. As you can tell, right behind me, that wind chime just going nuts. It's been very windy. It's been windy all night, windy today, and I understand there's some storms coming in. So I'm going to have to move those plants indoors that I put outdoors yesterday. Let's go take a look at them. What do you say? Alright, let's have a look at those plants. So, as I was mentioning yesterday, getting used to the wind is one of the conditions that these plants are going to have to get accustomed to. And that is part of the reason for engaging in the hardening off process. Extremes of temperature, wind, things of that nature. So giving them this time is going to give them a better chance of surviving when they get out there to the garden where they're eventually going to go. This is after one night of being outdoors on their own. I've already taken the liberty of giving them their haircuts. Let me get them a little bit closer and have a look. Cut the tops off there, there, there. Okay, this one over here. So all of these sweet peppers have had their tops clipped. Oop, I clipped a little bit of that leaf there. I didn't intend to. And that is going to help them grow stronger bodies and cause them to bulk out and be bushier, which will eventually lead to more pepper production whenever they get to later on in their life cycle. The tomatoes have been tied off with a piece of twine so they don't blow around too much, because you'll notice they've got very long stems and a lot on the top, and I took the liberty of taking off the lower leaves. Let's see if you can see this one any better. The lower leaves of these tomato plants. That way, when the rain falls, it doesn't strike the ground, splash up on the underside of the leaves, and lead to blight. If you don't want blight on your tomatoes, take those lower leaves off. They look like they're about ready for a drink. Alright, there are the cayenne peppers. Cayennes and nasturtiums. And now we have reached the basil. The basil got their haircuts yesterday too. Let me see if I can find one. There we go. There's the top of the plant. And there was something interesting I wanted to show you occurring down here. And hopefully I can get in tight enough to let you see this. Alright, so down there in that pan, oh, now it's out of focus. There we go. So we can focus now. Down there in the pan, you'll notice when I lift the plant up, the roots are growing out of the bottom of the pot, but they intersect with this film. Do you see it? It's moving underneath the pot. That film, the roots are intersecting with that. They're connected to it. I'm going to pull it out for a moment and I'll give you a look at what this film is. This is fungus growing. It's also growing in association with an algae that started growing in that pan. But there's an entire film stretching from one pot to the next, to the next, to the next, to the next, all the way across the tray. The roots of each pepper plant have grown into it, and also some of the algae that's growing in the tray is connected to it to maximize the entire surface area for photosynthesis. And that fungi that is growing in there is one of the mycorrhizal fungi that I've been attempting to inoculate these plants with. There's the cumin. Alright, so we're getting ready to get those plants and bring them back into the greenhouse today because I've looked at the weather forecast and we're supposed to have some stormy weather tonight. That's what all the wind blowing is about. It's bringing that front in, and we're going to be experiencing storms tonight and off and on for the next couple of days. I do want my plants to get accustomed to living outdoors, but I don't want to just beat them up unnecessarily. So we're going to have to bring them in. And to help me out with that, I've got this. Let's see if you can see that thing there. Just a sheet of plywood. You'll note that I'm using those aluminum pans underneath the plants to catch the water, to hold the water, so I don't have to be out here constantly watering them during the day. Well, those aluminum pans are cheap, but they're also a little flimsy. So a sheet of plywood underneath will allow me to carry those inexpensive aluminum pans back into the greenhouse. And that's what we're going to do now. Well, alright, good people, I do apologize. I got a brand new microphone that plugs into my brand new camera, and for this shot I forgot to turn the thing on, so there is no audio to go along with it, so I'll just talk over what's happening here. Well, I just put in the last of the nasturtiums, slid it right on in, smooth as could be, and then grabbed those two oil-fueled electrical heaters and moved them on out of the greenhouse. The nights are going to be warm enough now that we won't need those anymore. Next, it's time to give these plants a well-deserved drink. They've earned it. They've just spent an afternoon, a whole night, and most of the morning outdoors in the wind with no encouragement. So, drink up, little plants. Now, while I was watering the Carmela tomato, I found something interesting. I'm going to bring it up to the camera so you can have a look at it. What could it be? Well, that's a little cluster of tomato flowers. I went ahead and pinched them off because it's still 2 weeks before these plants go out to the garden. And although I would love to have tomatoes started, they need to wait just a little bit before they begin producing. Well, alright, so now all my seedlings are back indoors, safe and sound from those high winds that are coming up later on this evening, along with the heavy rain. They've had a nice couple of hours outdoors. Hopefully they've learned from their experiences. The Carmela knows that sometimes you don't always get all the water you want, and it gets really windy. Hopefully they'll learn from that experience, get stronger stems, and be able to handle the drought a bit better. The other plants, now they're here, back indoors, with some water coming to the roots, they're starting to perk up again, and I think they had a good night out for the first time being outdoors. But we'll see. We've got some heavy storms coming up, and we'll find out how much this greenhouse can handle with northeast Oklahoma tornadoes coming through. Well, good people, that's all I've got for you right now. Please like the video, subscribe, share, pound that notification bell, and I will catch you next time. Okay, one last thing before we go. I just wanted to show you this. This is on the path back to the house. Does anybody know what these guys are? These are the plants right here. I did not plant these. Nope, I didn't plant these at all. These are not pansies. These are wild violets. Aren't they cute? Just growing here on the path from the greenhouse to the back door.